All right, and we are back here on the GSMC football podcast. And for the final part of the show, we're going to talk about the Steelers and the possibility of maybe them taking a quarterback in this draft. Now, it's not going to be one of the top guys, obviously, but maybe there's one that they do take at some point during the draft. So, Omar Khan, the general manager on Monday, he didn't rule out the Steelers taking a quarterback, but he ruled out taking the Steelers. He did rule out the Steelers taking a quarterback in the first round. He said, "I think it's not realistic that we'll be taking a quarterback in round one if that's what you're asking. No, there are some good players there, and I wouldn't close the door on anything if there's an opportunity to improve in that room. Obviously, we'll look at it, but like you said, we've got three guys who are on 1 year deals, and we have to be open to it." Because they also signed Kyle Allen to a contract, or they brought Kyle Allen in. You got Justin Fields, who you traded for, and you signed Russell Wilson. And obviously, completely different quarterback room from last year when you had Kenny Pickett, who you traded to Philadelphia, Mitchell Trubisky, who signed with, I think, the Bills, and Mason Rudolph signed with the Titans. So, I mean, it's possible. And actually, in the article that I'm looking at, they do mention Jordan Travis from Florida State, and he got hurt last season, and maybe the Steelers could draft him possibly. And Florida State, was good last year, and he got hurt, and they ended up not making the college football playoff, and he had all the complaints about that. Them going undefeated. What else did you want them to do? And now they're trying to get out of the ACC. But that's one name that's listed in the article. Is Jordan Travis. Now, I think, drafting a quarterback maybe later wouldn't be the worst thing because, yeah, you got, like you said, you got guys on 1 year deals. Russell Wilson, Justin Fields. Kyle Allen's a backup quarterback. Justin Fields and Russell Wilson, Justin Fields has a chance to start. Russell Wilson is your starter. And the Steelers did a good job getting Russell Wilson for cheap. Didn't give up that much for Justin Fields. Can't really complain about that. And whatever happens, they don't have a long-term commitment with any of those guys. But at the same time, you also want to have that backup plan. Now, does that necessarily mean that if they draft a quarterback in this draft that he's going to end up being the answer? No. But at least you have that option. And look, the Steelers, whoever's been starting a quarterback, it doesn't matter. They still find a way to finish with a decent record and somehow squeak into the playoffs. Because remember, if you go back to 2019, Ben Roethlisberger gets hurt, and he played the first game of the year against the Patriots when they got absolutely destroyed on that Sunday night, but then got hurt in the second game against the Seahawks that season. Mason Rudolph, he steps in and he's the starter, but then you had Devlin Hodges who had to start some games too, and they won some games with him. And the Steelers finished 8-8 and had a chance to make the playoffs the final week of the regular season. So no matter who has started at quarterback, the Steelers find a way to finish with a decent record. But, you look at their current quarterback situation, like I said, I think they have done a great job. But, we're still we still need to see more from Justin Fields. And I thought when he came back from the injury last season, he did play better. And the Bears as a team played better. And, they had a chance to make the playoffs. But, they still missed out on it. So I think new situation now, maybe this is good for him. And maybe the fact that he just sits behind Russell Wilson, that could be good for him too. And then when it comes to Russell Wilson, we're kind of like I said, we're in a wait and see with Fields. Want to see more from him. Russell Wilson, I think we kind of know what he is at this point. I don't think you're going to see him. I've talked about this numerous times. I don't think you're not going to see what he did in Seattle. That's just that Russ is gone. We're going to be seeing more of what we saw in Denver. Now, again, the numbers from last year are decent. 26 touchdowns to 8 interceptions. It's okay numbers. But that's probably what you're going to end up seeing. And is that going to be good enough for the Steelers to make the playoffs and maybe finally win a playoff game? Because it's been, like I said, the last time they won was in Arrowhead back in the 2016-2017 season. It's been a long time. And you look at the conference now, not just the conference, your own division, it's a gauntlet. But you know what? The Steelers, at least for me, I know that they are going to be in the mix. But can they get over that hump and finally win a playoff game with these guys? We'll have to see. And will Justin Fields ever see the field? Will he play? He probably will play a little bit. But if Russ is bad, Fields is going to get put in the game. But the Steelers also got some work to do with this draft because they're another team that needs a receiver. They're also trying to pursue veteran receivers, trying to get one. Because right now, you signed receivers for depth. You got George Pickens. You traded away Deontay Johnson. So, yeah, you kind of need another receiver in there. And I think they're going to find one. They're going to get one way or another. Whether it is through the draft or free agency, they're going to figure that out. So it remains to be seen. But that's another thing that they have to address, too, is receiver. And that's what they do. They draft receivers. So probably going to happen in this draft as well. But now, how do I see the Steelers season playing out? I kind of alluded to it. Russell Wilson, you're going to probably see him put up similar numbers to Denver when he was in Denver. So maybe if you get another 26 touchdowns to 8 interceptions, maybe that's good enough for the Steelers to get into the playoffs because as long as TJ Watt's healthy on the other side, Steelers defense is going to be good. And them adding Patrick Queen, the linebacker from the Ravens, that's a good move. So as long as TJ Watt, the quarterback of the defense, is healthy, the Steelers are going to be a team that, finishes with a winning record or close to a winning record. Because they haven't finished with a losing record with Mike Tomlin, and they're going to find a way to continue that streak until otherwise. But, I don't know if any of these guys are Russell Wilson's not a long-term answer. Justin Fields, they did trade for him. So, they might want to keep him around if they let Russ go. Russ could be one and done, and then maybe they bring back Fields. And if they do end up drafting a quarterback, that's the other quarterback that you keep on the roster. And you go from there. I don't know. But, they did, like I said, they traded for Fields, so I don't think he's going to be one and done. Unless, he also goes out there and he plays really bad. But we'll have to see. Again, we're going to be in May soon. But we're still ways away from the first game being played. But it is definitely interesting, the possibility of the Steelers taking a quarterback. Again, probably going to be later in the draft because they got other needs, like receiver, that might end up being their first pick as receiver. Because, again, you traded one away, and, Quez Watkins, Van Jefferson, that doesn't move the needle. But, again, those were depth signings. Now you got to go and get a number 2 for George Pickens. Because you still got Pat Freiermuth as well, who's a good tight end, but you need receiver help. And, the Steelers, they're a team that loves to draft wide receivers, and that's going to happen in this draft, you would imagine. So, unless they bring in a veteran receiver. But I could definitely see that happening. So, yeah, let me know what you guys think about this. Do you see the Steelers taking a quarterback in this draft? Again, it's not going to be with the first pick. Uh, Omar Khan shut that down. But still a possibility that maybe they take one later in the draft. So we'll keep an eye on that as well. And yeah, like I said, draft is tomorrow night. Really looking forward to that. Going to be getting together with some friends for that, so that should be fun. With everybody working and schedules, it's just very hard to, you know, get together for things lately. But it's going to be nice to at least do that. Got the Knicks playoff game tomorrow night as well, so looking forward to that. Going to be repping my Jalen Brunson jersey, which I had on the other night. So want to know with the Jalen Brunson jersey, in the one of the craziest endings you'll ever see in a basketball game, the Knicks were able to pull that out. And that was unbelievable. So yeah, looking forward to that and the draft. Knicks trying to go up 3-0 in the series against the 76ers. So you got that going on at the same time as the draft. So we're going to have to figure something out. I mean, it's probably going to be a lot of flipping back and forth unless somebody wants to bring over another TV to have the draft on one and the Knicks on the other. We'll have to figure it out. Discussions will have to be had for that. And then, of course, I'll have the Yankees playing on the S app on my phone so I could keep up with that. But, yeah, no, it should be a good night. Looking forward to that. Well, hopefully, the teams that we root for don't make bad picks, which, I don't know. I feel like the Giants one is trickier. Like the Jets, I feel like they're going to end up taking either Brock Bowers or a receiver. Now, what they should take is probably an offensive lineman, but they're probably going to end up taking a playmaker, which I don't think is a bad move either. But, they took some risks with the offensive line this offseason. Like Tyron Smith, I definitely could see getting hurt. So, yeah, maybe you should take an offensive lineman instead. Maybe. That's just me. So, but we'll discuss more about the draft tomorrow. Some things to touch upon. I mean, again, you kind of know where the first 2 picks are going, even 3 picks, all going to be quarterbacks, unless the Patriots trade. Well, if the Patriots trade out, whoever takes 3 is going to take a quarterback. So the first 3 picks are going to be quarterback. And then if the Cardinals trade out of their pick, then that's going to probably be another quarterback that's going to be off the board. So you're probably going to see all quarterbacks go first, and then you'll start seeing receivers, and then we go from there. But should be an exciting night. Looking forward to it. And again, just hoping that, my team makes the right picks. But again, if they pick someone that the fan base goes crazy over and is not happy about, you're not going to see that reaction out of me. You're not. Because, to be honest, my Giants fandom really just has not been what it was. Just because of the rough years that have been going on. Now, again, I still am a Giant fan, just maybe not as what I once was. Now, with the Yankees, as you could see in the background, or you have seen since I started doing shows, that's always going to be my team, no matter what. No matter what. That's my number one team. Out of all the teams that I root for, that is always going to be my number one team. And that will never change. But again, the Giants, I will always be a Giant fan. Just the fandom's really taken a hit. And I'm hoping that they can bounce back. And I don't know. The other thing, too, is, and I've said this, I just don't feel as much connection to players as I did. Because it's just a lot of the players that they've had recently, they're not here for a long time. They end up leaving. But maybe now with Brian Dable and Joe Shane, they build that team back up. And, I get back to how I was, before, after the Super Bowl. That team, or with the Super Bowl team, whatever. I don't know what I was trying to say there, but you guys know what I mean. Because again, after the Super Bowl, it went downhill after that. So, but yeah, that is all the time that we have for today. Again, thank you guys for tuning in. We'll be back again tomorrow, same time, 10:30 a.m. Eastern time. Make sure to check out all the other shows as well. get their perspectives on other things, not just football, but other sports all across. Uh, I don't even know what I was saying. All across the world, I guess. All across the states, all across the world. I don't know. But yeah, give the show some love. Check out their the other shows as well here. And yeah, so until then, I'm your host Kenneth Grunfelder, signing off from the GSMC Football Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. Have a good day, and I will talk to you guys tomorrow. Take care.